What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and today I'm joined by a two-time Women's Physique Arnold Classic champion, Natalia Coelho, just days out from the 2020 Miss Olympia. Natalia, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Now, I've been wanting to interview you for a while. You've got an amazing physique. I've always been super impressed. And another, I suppose, one of the reasons why I'm so impressed is you're a five-time Olympia competitor and you're only 24 years of age. So tell me how you got into this, I suppose, so young and you got so good so young, I guess.
Well, I started competing in 2013. I was almost 17, 16 to 17 years old. And then I turned pro at 19. And this very first year, I qualified for the Olympia. So since then, I've been doing the Olympia every year. But I started in figure. And then I switched to women's physique later on. But, I just followed my dreams, did what I could do. And the judges told me, like, if you want to stay in figure, you got to step back because your conditioning is too much. But I like to train heavy. I like to train hard. And I didn't want to step back. So I made the transition to women's physique and I'm loving it.
Yeah. And you're doing very well. Obviously, you placed second at the Olympia last year. I believe you were third place, I think, and you've won two Arnold Classic champions.
Last year, I placed third. The
Yep.
year before, I placed second. Yes,
Yep.
and I won two Arnold.
Cool. And that's an amazing achievement at such a young age. It's absolutely crazy to me that you've actually been able to do that. Now, do you want to stay in women's physique or would you eventually want to move on to like women's bodybuilding? Because obviously you said you like train heavy and stuff.
No, I want to stay women's physique. Like, I respect the bodybuilding a lot. I know how much it takes to get to the level that they are, but I don't think it's for me. I want to stay in women's physique. And even if I have to, step back a little bit, if they said like you're getting too big or something, I would not go that far.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. And
I
I
think
think
women's
that's the right
physique
decision for you as
suits
well,
me
because your
well.
physique seems to really suit the women's physique category, obviously, with your placings and whatnot as well. Now you're going to be competing against, one of, I suppose, the most genetically gifted, I suppose you'd say, women in the world. How do you, I suppose, when you're coming up against Shanique Grant, how does your mindset change when you have to do like a contest when she's in it compared to like when she's not?
Honestly, it doesn't change at all. I'm always focused. I'm always, trying to do what I can and focus on myself because, there's nothing I can do about her physique and her genetics, but all what I can do is to bring my very best. And that's what I've been doing. So that's
Absolutely.
what I have to focus on.
Now, you're one of these girls as well, but you're not just posting up like booty pics and stuff online. You're very much into your like gut health and things like that. And you've actually got some qualifications as well. So tell us, I suppose, what you're qualified in and what your qualifications are and why you're so passionate about things like gut health.
Yes, so like gut health to me, it's everything because literally all disease, everything starts in your gut. So once you're healthy and you know what's going on inside you, you can control pretty much everything from how you sleep to how you feel to how is your digestion, hormones, literally everything. So I started like just studying to understand my body better, but I got so like into it that I started going to college and university to actually get a diploma in it. I have a diploma in nutrition, I have a diploma in sports and exercise science, and I have a diploma in gut health. So I pretty much did like 8 years in school. I took all pre-med classes because I was going to medical school, but in the middle of the way, I just don't believe in the conventional medicine. I believe in more of a holistic approach, a Chinese like traditional approach, which you focus on preventing the disease and not really just, trying to hide and put a band-aid on.
Yeah.
So I'm the type of girl who I was always like the first one to get in the class, the last one to leave, always studying, always in the first seat. I have a GPA of 4.0, always straight A's. It's something that I really like doing, because the more I learn, the more I can apply to myself. The better I can apply to myself, the better results. And the better I feel, the better I look. Because it's not all about the outside. We need to understand what's going on inside in order to have the best outcome.
Yeah. Now you're a massive overachiever. So everything you've told me then and what you're doing, obviously with like your knowledge base, what you're doing with your physique and obviously competing and stuff so early, where does that come from? Is it something your parents instilled in you?
It's funny, but I think like my father, he was very poor when he was younger, and he had to hustle a lot to get to where he is right now to have a better life. So I watch him like working like three jobs at a time, and I would not see him for a week because he would be working nonstop all day. So I think I kind of like got a little bit of him, like always working hard. But my grandfather, he's an admiral of the Navy. So
Yep.
he's very disciplined, very dedicated. He's like, he has schedule. He has literally everything he does has time and stuff like that. And I admire him a lot. So since very young, I had like good influences in my life that taught me how to have a strong mindset and a strong, like when you're focused on something to go for it no matter what. I've been listening to that since very young.
Yep. So what's a normal day look like for you? Do you structure your days? Do you plan things out? Because I think people can learn a lot from you and what, you've achieved so much at such a young age. I keep going on about it, but it's incredible to me. Do you have a super structured day? Do you work like, do you work on things like 7 days a week? I suppose, what does your life look like day to day?
Yes, hope like now I can say that my life's a little better because I just graduated. I got my last degree, my bachelor's. So it's a little easier, but it was very tough because I was waking up every day at 5 a.m. I would do my cardio and then I would go to work. I work for like 6 to 8 hours a day. And then I would go straight to university, which is like 2 hours from my house. So it's a long drive, and I would be there for like 8, 9 hours, drive back, train super late, cook, prepare my meals, do my homework, study, go to bed, and have to be up super early again. So
Wow.
it's not easy, but I always enjoy literally everything that I was doing. So it was never, like I never complained. I never woke up and said, oh my gosh, I need to do cardio. Oh my gosh, I need to drive 2 hours just to get to my university or whatever because I love it. I was actually excited to get there. I'm like, what am I going to learn today? Or let's see how much I can push in my cardio today. And I would be finished like with my classes. And I'm like, okay, time to train. And people like, you crazy. It's like almost 10 p.m. And I'm like, well, we got to do what we got to do. There's no excuses. So I don't post much about my schedule because I feel like I'm bragging that I'm doing too much. And I don't need to do that. I just put the work in and people see the results. But it's actually good for them to see that it's not easy for anybody. Everybody has a lot of things going on. We just don't share as much as others. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm sure
long
there'd be
day.
people out there too that would say, "Oh, Natalia's so lucky. She's got a great physique. She's so smart. She's so lucky." And a lot of people say that, but really, you working so hard, that's creating your own luck. You know what I mean? So I like to have people hear what you actually have to do day to day, and people go, "Wow, I'm not doing half of that." You know what I mean? So I think it's cool for people to actually hear that and know how much hard work
Yeah.
you're putting in.
I hear that so much. People always tell me, like, especially in the beginning, they're like, well, it's very easy for you because you don't have to do much. You're so young. Your mother pays for everything, and you just have to what eat and sleep and go to school. But no, it's not like that. In the beginning, my mom, like today, she's my biggest supporter ever. But in the beginning, she gave me a very hard time. She didn't understand bodybuilding. Actually, nobody in my family really did. So I had to literally teach them and show them, like, make them watch videos of Arnold Schwarzenegger, show them what the sport is about. Because my family lives in Brazil, so they are far from me. And my mom calls them and it's like, well, Natalia wants to become a man. She wants to train like a man. She wants to have muscles. And I'm like, no, it's not like that. So it was hard in the beginning. And my mom would never pay for this stuff. Like actually, she would say, she's like, well, you want to do this sport? So you gotta pay your bills. And I'm like, but I'm 16. I don't have a car. I'm going to school. I just got here. Like I moved here when I was 15. So I remember the days that I was eating like tuna and oatmeal all day because that's what I could afford. So
Wow.
get my bicycle, go to the grocery store, buy my tuna package, my oatmeal, and prep like that, getting ready for a show, eating what I can.
Yeah. And
But
you know
yeah,
what? actually growing up like that, like I listen to a lot of Gary Vee. I don't know if you've heard of Gary Vee. He's like a entrepreneur business type of guy. And he says, you know, people that grow up super privileged, they're the ones at a disadvantage, and people that, you know, have parents that are hard on them and make them work for their own money and stuff like that. They're the ones that are blessed because they get those lessons earlier in life. And really what your mum, and seeing the example of your father and your grandfather and your mum, I suppose that's probably been a good example. And that's really, I suppose, helped you become who you've become today. So it's, in a reality, it's a blessing.
It is. I always tell her, like, even nowadays, sometimes she comes to me, she's like, I'm so sorry for the hard time I gave in the beginning. Now I see how much you love what you do, and I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, no, don't be sorry. You made me strong. Today I'm only who I am because of you, because I had to fight and earn literally everything I have. So I like that, I don't want anybody to give me things. I want to earn, when you earn something, you just feel like you accomplished something. You deserve it.
Yeah.
So
And
it
how did
made
you
me
find
stronger.
bodybuilding? Was it when you moved to America or?
Yes. When I moved here, I was training at a gym. I always went to the gym, workouts and stuff, but I wasn't competing yet when I moved here. And then I met this old school bodybuilder, and he was like, "Are you training for something?" And I'm like, "No, I just like to come here because, it's the place that I can zone out and just enjoy, do what I can." And he's like, "Well, I want to take you to a few competitions." And I'm like, "What competitions?" And he's like, "Bodybuilding." And I was like, okay. So I went with him to Europa Games here in Orlando,
Oh, yeah.
and he started like taking me to a lot of shows, and he's like, let me take you backstage. And he's like, you see these guys now, they are just resting because they are me to my first coach. And from there on, I didn't stop. I was like so motivated, so focused, and I'm like, I'm going to do whatever it takes, but I want to go on stage and win this, like have a life in this sport. And then when I did my first competition, I was teenager. I did teenagers and open, and I won both.
Wow.
And I don't know, but the minutes that I stepped on stage, I felt something that I never felt in my entire life. I'm like, I feel I'm gonna be in this industry forever. It's just something like I learned what passion means the day that I stepped on stage. And I was just like, I'm not gonna stop doing that anytime soon. So I could tell, because some people are like, well, it takes a few shows for you to actually have this fire inside you for the sport and understand the sport, what it takes. But no, the first day, first time that I stepped on stage, I felt like I wasn't nervous. I was so excited, so happy to be there, that I'm like, I want to feel that more times. I want to be there. I belong there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's such a cool story. Now, Natalia, I want to thank you so much for coming on Desktop Bodybuilding and doing this interview. I've been wanting to do it for a while, and I'm glad we finally got to do it because, there's a lot more about you that I found out just during this interview. So I want to thank you so much. Natalia Coelho, I can't wait to see you on stage. Do you have any sponsors you want to thank?
Yes, my pleasure being here. Thank you for the opportunity. And yes, I'm sponsored by MPA. So I want to thank them for all the support throughout this prep and everything that they've been doing for me. It's been very important to me.
Awesome.
I'm also sponsored by Liquid Sunrays. They always do my tanning. CJ does my suits. So I have a very nice team working with me.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Natalia. That's Natalia Coelho, two-time Arnold Classic champion, top 2 finisher in the Miss Olympia before. Can she go one better? We'll have to wait and see in just 3 days' time. For Xavier Wills and Natalia Coelho, we are out.